Damon, good morning. How we doing?
Damon, I'm great, buddy. How you been?
I'm doing great, man. It is always great to catch up with you. And obviously, what a weekend it was. What was it like to be there and hear the roar of the crowd of the back nine for Tiger yesterday, which just sounded like, when you were watching on TV, to be unlike any roar we had heard in a long time on the PGA Tour?
Well, you have to think about the venue, and this is Tiger's career basically coming full circle right before our eyes. You know, at 43 years of age, he's become, Arnold Palmer and Jack Nicklaus rolled into one, roars of awe and appreciation and really love. And I think that's really the overriding sentiment of yesterday, was seeing how much the gallery and the patrons missed having Tiger height of power. And it was a new generation of fans who heard about it or maybe had seen it for a decade, to be able to usher him home in the way that he was able to basically salt that tournament away. It was very reminiscent of Tiger being the puppet master, the chess master, letting the other players blink and make the mistakes. And it was just a scene that the golf world needed and will never forget.
Do you think that popularity that Tiger enjoys right now is built on nostalgia, as you said, people wanting to see him be great again? Or is it built out of seeing his vulnerabilities over the last couple of years and that comeback tale that people love so much?
Yeah, I think it's an interesting combination of both. I think that the vulnerability aspect of it has made Tiger more relatable. When you talk about the dissolution of a marriage, or the back surgery, the receding hairline, the chip yips, whatever you want to call it, wherever you want to put this thing, what aspect of it, Tiger Woods has been rendered human in the last decade. This superhero, without a cape, brought to his knees, embarrassed, humiliated, ridiculed, and to have that same guy somehow climb the mountain, first back to respectability, then back to the winner's circle a year ago at Eastlake in the fall on the PGA Tour, and to think that he could go one better and against these Tiger babies, these workout warriors who hit it 30 yards past him, that he could somehow outfox and outwit them on a Masters Sunday, it just was almost too good to be true. So there's definite nostalgia for his ability to turn back the clock, which people hoped for but didn't necessarily believe would happen. And then also the appreciation of a guy who's much more relatable and much more vulnerable and much closer to what the rest of us deal with in our lives on a daily basis.
Damon Hack joins us from the Golf Channel. Over the weekend, you tweeted, standing out in the dark at the Phoenix Open 4 years ago and watching Tiger, and you, I thought, put it so brilliantly. You said it looked like Sinatra without his voice. What was it like when you witnessed him that day? Bring me back to that morning in Phoenix.
Yeah, I just got off the set on morning drive. I was in Phoenix for the Waste Management Phoenix Open, and Tiger's in the midst of, one of his several comebacks, and he'd already, showed some short game, vulnerability earlier that year at the Hero World Challenge. It would have been late December, but I hadn't seen it with my own eyes. So I'm there in Phoenix late January, and I'm watching Tiger warm up for this round of golf, and I'm watching this one-time whizzing with his wedges, hitting bladed chips and chunks, and it's the dark. There's not a lot of people out there, and I'm just like, how has this happened? How has one or two of the greatest golfers of all time fallen so far that he can't hit a wedge to a few feet? And not even that, he can't even find the green with a wedge from next to the wedge, missing greens from next to the green. It was hard to watch. I remember turning away a couple of times, not wanting to make eye contact with him because he had to be embarrassed. He shoot 82 in the second round, missed the cut. He kept insisting that it was more about being between, swing series and short game patterns, and that he didn't have the yips. He kept pushing back against that term, the yips. But there were a lot of people in this game, from my colleague Brandel Chambly to his former coach Hank Haney, who believed that he had the short game yips and he would never come back from that. And they weren't alone. And to think he could come back from that moment, and that tweet you mentioned, I mentioned that even before we got the job done on Sunday, just that he'd come back that far to even be in contention on a Sunday. And I thought it was really kind of sweet justice for him to have to get up on that green, his third shot on 18, I had a kind of flashback. So is he not going to have a bit of a relapse here and blade this pitch shot or leave it and struggle and not be able to get up and down or get down in 5 and lose this to Brooks Koepka possibly. It just was kind of everything was full circle. That his short game, his confidence, his health, the assassin in the red shirt was back, and it was just something to behold.
Damon Hack, Golf Channel, joins us after an unbelievable day in the Masters yesterday. We posed this question earlier in the show, whether this is a new normal for Tiger or he just knew the course so well in Augusta that this could have only happened at Augusta. Do you expect him to contend on the leaderboard on Sundays and the rest of the majors this year as well, or was that a moment in time yesterday?
No, I think this is more than a moment in time because he believes it's more than a moment in time. He said when he won last year in Atlanta, it was important because it saw that it was just not getting in contention and having a T5 finish, as he had a couple of those, and he had the runner-up at the PGA and held the lead but lost it at Carnoustie. He said when he won in Atlanta, it taught him he could win. And when he won yesterday, it taught him he could win majors again. And I just think that with the gallery as the 15th club in the bag again, with the confidence, and with the schedule, Bethpage, PGA next month, where he won by 3 in 2002. Pebble, June, U.S. Open, where he won by 15 shots in 2000, and where he's also won on the PGA Tour. Portrush, July. He's shown that he can be an Open champion maestro, hitting stingers on links golf courses. Tiger suddenly at 43 doesn't seem so old. It seems like he's going to have a good 5 to 7 year window. We're talking about 20 to 28 more major championship attempts to catch and pass Jack Nicklaus. That great chase that we thought was dead is alive and well on this Monday.
Do you think Tiger thought it was dead? Do you think in his most honest moments he said, I'm not going to get to Jack, so let me give up chasing that ghost?
I do think when he was laying down in his backyard calling for his daughter to pick him up because he was hitting shots and his back gave out, when he was at the Champions Dinner a couple of years ago telling the likes of Sir Nick Faldo, I'm done, I'm finished, I just, I've done this back stuff and I can't get it back together. I do think that he believed he was done. But for this spinal fusion surgery and the grit to somehow put his body through the rigors of physical therapy, to put his game under the microscope, if Tiger just said, you know what, guys? I gave you 14 majors. I gave you 79 wins. I've given you memories. I'm done. Who could have blamed him if he just said, you know what, I'm slinking away. I'm out. I'm going to be a recluse. I'm going to count my money. I'm going to be a dad, and I'm done. But he was willing to put his legacy on the line against these young studs who are all, spending hours in the gym and hit the ball 350 yards and willing to put everything on the line to prove to himself that he could get back into major championship conversations. It's truly one of the great comebacks, not just in golf, but in all sports.
Give me your firsthand observations of Tiger being a different Tiger. We hear that he's better with fans. Perhaps he's better with other golfers on the tour. Perhaps better with media. Maybe some grounding. Maybe some humility. What have you seen firsthand?
Well, I've seen him talk about his kids in ways that he really never did before. The importance of being a dad. I mean, he was humiliated. He was ridiculed. He was embarrassed. The way his legacy was tarnished and taken away by his own doing, by his own hubris, by his own mistakes. And I got the feeling that having his kids kind of grow up and know what his father did, he wanted to change that conversation and have them be proud of him. And when he talks about his kids and hearing anecdotes about him carrying his cell phone around and showing Jason Day his son's golf swing and wanting his kids to know, what does dad do for a living, that he's not the YouTube golfer, as his daughter called him, because that was the only time they knew of him winning golf tournaments. I really think his kids have grounded him, have changed him. He's never going to love being a quote machine. He's not a lovable character. He never really has been comfortable with the spotlight. There's some child actor kind of characteristics to the story of burnout and self-sabotage, and he's been able to rescue and resuscitate. But I do think he's more relatable. I think the injuries to his body, the dissolution of his marriage, and the growth of his kids have all conspired in a good way to make him a much more relatable, much more likable human being.
Excellent. Damon Hack joining us from the Golf Channel. Before I let you go, what was the second most interesting story to you from the Masters?
Gosh, great question. I think the second most intriguing storyline was that Tiger's ability to play great golf can still affect those around him. And wondering, seeing the likes of these young players saying, I want Tiger at his best, and seeing Francesco Molinari make double bogey on 12 and double bogey on 15, and Brooks Koepka making double on 12 in a way that we never thought would, Brooks Koepka was the toughest guy on the planet, and Francesco was a robot. To see those guys blink, and to see Tiger Woods stand tall is something that we're going to be talking about for a long time. And it's going to be fun to watch these young players have to redouble their efforts because Tiger Woods isn't going anywhere. This is found money for him, and he plans to spend it.
Well said. Excellent stuff. Damon Hack joining us from the Golf Channel. You can follow him on Twitter at Damon Hack GC. The PGA Tour's 2019 season just got way more interesting on Twitter at Damon Hack GC, and watch him regularly on the Golf Channel daily. It's always good to catch up, Damon. I'm sure we'll do it again here soon, bud. Thank you so much. That was great.
Thanks, my man. Talk to you soon.
You got it.